Countdown champion.
That was what,
So
15
what was that? No, it was like a 13 count.
count. Okay, yeah.
Awesome.
Yes, yes. Hi guys, welcome to this week's hangout. Of course, with me, we have our usual cast of characters. First of all, I have to introduce the one and only famous Mr. Juan Bagnell back with us this week. You
Oh,
know,
you.
uh, after
Black
being
Iron Man.
on being on TV covering Microsoft launches, social media week. I mean, Mr.
It's been
Juan
a
Bagnell is
it's been a
basically
crazy
busy.
couple of weeks. I mean, especially having to do for the iPhone launch, jumping back and forth between NBCLA and Fox as tech expert. That was kind of crazy. That one kind of like made me giggle a little.
All right, and next up is Mr. Warren Bowman from BW1.com. Whoa, somebody has mic reverb going on there.
Some feedback.
Somebody decided to message me on Google, on Google Hangouts. You know what it is. It goes everywhere. Boom.
Oh yeah.
Anyways,
Alrighty, and
that's
of
folks.
course, finally, Black Iron Man, Black Iron underscore man. Sorry, how's it going, man? All right, he's doing the princess wave. We all
Black Iron Man, damn it.
we know he's a princess. It's okay.
Whatever, man.
All right, let's start off this week. I'm going to start it off with the uselessness of the week and also the main topic. iPhone 6 Plus Bendgate. So, I mean, I'm sure some of you want me to actually do this on screen live for you right
break
now.
it, break it, break it.
No.
That's so disappointing, man. That's so disappointing.
So your thoughts, guys. I'll start off with you, Sam, since you came in late. What do you think about Bendgate? Its uselessness and also the fact that Consumer Report says now you need about 80 pounds of force, and I've seen people actually just break it on camera. So, your thoughts,
Okay, go ahead.
Sam?
I thought you said Sam, okay. 'Cause I got some good stuff.
I break its back like this. Okay.
Bane time.
I don't know. Realistically, the phone's thin. What do you expect? It's an aluminum phone. It has no give. So if you bend it, what do you a thin phone? It's not like it's plastic. See, this is if Apple had made a plastic phone, it would have had some give in it. Right? It would have basically bent and basically returned back to shape, right? But it's an aluminum back, and it's a thin phone. If you bend it, it's bent. Please don't bend your iPhone. Do people need to tell you that? Like, hey, it's a thin phone. Don't put it in your back pocket and sit on it. I think it's a useless, pointless, whatever gate. But hey, people are going to make a big deal out of it because it's Apple. And you believe me, I'm not the biggest Apple fan, but I think it's much ado about nothing. That's realistically that's what I think.
Okay, much ado about nothing, says Mr. Black Iron underscore man. Please have your lower third up so we know who you are. Next up is Mr. Warren Bowman.
Interesting thing about this thing is the fact that they had to know this was going on, and the thing was, it's like these guys are bending it far beyond, trying to actually break it, which is what their attempt to do is. But the problem is that people are noticing Ben just having it in their pocket in skinny jeans or sitting or putting it in their back. Because some people like to put their phones in their back pocket because that's what they like to do. And the fact that it's bending even so slightly is an issue, is a problem, and it's something that there's no way they didn't know. They just probably were hoping that it wasn't going to be a major problem, it wasn't going to be a major fiasco. And it ended up sort of being. But the interesting thing, I think, is how different this would be if this was Samsung, Motorola, HTC, or someone else dealing with this.
Samsung, most likely.
Well, I would say, like we say, if HTC were going through something like this with
HTC, any of these phones going through this type of situation, they would be vilified and completely destroyed. The fact that it's like the iPhone, the Bendgate thing happened, and the fact that there are iPhone users out there still supporting and giving excuses and defending them on this thing is utterly ridiculous. It just goes to show, like, how many sheep are probably out there. If this was any other phone, this was like a Galaxy S5, Samsung users like, no, fix that shit. We're not gonna buy it until you fix this. iPhone users are like, Just don't put it in your pocket. It's okay. It just bends a little bit. You know what? All other phones bend too. You know, but to see, Consumer Reports says the iPhone is sturdier than its counterparts, and I'm like, stop.
Well,
It's like the
sturdier
Zelnuts have to run and defend them on something. Why are you running to defend them? Call them out on no, they're running defending.
Well, I'll say, like, to be fair, Consumer Reports is actually better than most in that they said that the iPhone 4 was a no buy because of the antenna issues. So, you know, Consumer Reports actually has a pretty good track record. One of the only outlets that has ever called out Apple on their crap for stuff like that.
But it's just like the second that Unbox Therapy video got big, then all of a sudden Apple puts their stuff out, and then you start seeing all the fans come out and start defending them. And I'm like, if this was Samsung and the other way around, first of all, Samsung used to be like, bullshit, fix this, give me a new device right away, and, you know, I'm not going to buy. Two, the Apple fanboys, but listen, that's why you don't buy an Android phone. And start making fun of them, that's why Apple is better. But because of this, way this is going now, how people are so enthralled in the fandom of Apple, it's like they defend them even on the shit they should be literally called out for.
Okay.
And it's just sad.
How about you, Mr. Juan Bagnell?
So, I mean, I largely agree. I mean, I totally agree with what everyone has said so far. I will play devil's advocate on Apple's behalf, because I not that I truly believe this, but I want to posit a hypothesis. And that's if you're doing a 3-point stress test where you've got the phone sort of positioned on 2 points and you're just pushing with like a pneumatic press up against that third point, you're not actually doing a good job of testing what will happen to this phone when I lose a little weight and splurge on some Levi 501 jeans that actually fit, and now this phone doesn't fit comfortably in my front pants pocket. That's a very different test. And when you're talking about, oh, well, it takes 90 pounds of pressure to deform the iPhone, when it takes 150 pounds of pressure to deform a Samsung, you're not really giving us an accurate representation of, well, how much pressure is that? How much pressure is really being generated when I sit down or I have to crouch and this phone is in the front pants pocket, or it's contouring to my buttocks because I have to keep it in a back pocket. I don't know. I mean, how much stress can denim exert on a phone? And so when you have something this thin, and you can compare it to like the HTC One, the HTC One probably only gives up, I don't know what, like maybe 1.5 millimeters of space, something like that. We're not talking a lot, but it also has a much more contoured shape, which deforming something rounded like this is going to be a little bit more difficult when we're talking about the pants test, not the I've got it tipped on 2 corners and I'm pushing a pneumatic press with a very small focus point on the fulcrum of the phone right in the middle. That's a different test than what we're running into with potential deforming of iPhones in pants pockets.
Well, for me, to add to this, I think what this shows me is that Apple doesn't do, according to what I've seen, especially just from people sitting down is deforming, they don't do a good job in stress testing their devices, I think. I mean, that's just what I get. It's almost like, you know, we've been to the Nokia facilities, I've seen what Motorola has done and all these different companies, and they do crazy stuff to break their phones, worse than what we saw with the stress test. And when I see somebody, if some guy can do this, that means I can really break this phone myself easily. And I'm African. I got a big ass, so which means if I sit on this phone, it's done. Let's just call it what it is. It's done. So if
Sam's face like
Sam's like you don't have to call me out, man. Come on. so I to me I look at it as the stress testing that Apple does in their products is either deteriorating or they just didn't do a good enough job with this one. And that's something that instead of them saying that we've only got 9 complaints, they should look and talk about, say, okay, let's try and fix this issue. So that the next batch of iPhone 6 Pluses, they've got, you know, to me, it almost feels like this artificial scarcity is a way of them fixing this problem before it even came out. Because, you know, when you're telling people it was 6 weeks for you to get that device.
So let me throw this out to you guys, because I was really stumped on this one. You've got a phone whose one of their main selling points is how impossibly thin it is for a phablet, and it's made out of it's an aluminum alloy, right? They've mixed other stuff into this.
Yeah.
How do you reinforce a phone like? How do you fix that? I don't know how you make this more structurally sound, because metal is a malleable material.
Well, it may be impurities to the alloy itself.
Juan brought up
That
a bit
that
first.
that might be it. I mean, it may be they have a lot of impurities in the manufacturing process of the alloy, which makes the metal structure weak. That's just simple, and that could be it. So I don't know, but I think either whatever.
I'd be willing. I doubt that there are tremendous impurities if the iPhone 6, the 4.7-inch sized iPhone is made of the same material, and we're not seeing complaints about that because we're not talking about as much surface area. I really think, I don't know that it's a process defect. I really think this is what happens when we've pushed thin design on metal to its upper limits, to its straining it to its smallest limits, I should say.
Let me put it this way. I agree with what you're saying, but I think if Apple had put a little bit more forethought into the design of it, this wouldn't have happened. There's a lot of wasted space. So basically, you're left with metal that has, I guess, a lot of surface area to basically bend. Let's put it that way. If Apple had basically tightened up that design and used less, or basically, had less wasted space on that device, I think we wouldn't be having an issue, because we'll have a shorter device, a device that's easily pocketable vis-a-vis the LG G3, the Galaxy Note, and thank you very much. And I think at the end of the day, we could basically get a phone like the LG G3 doesn't bend. I know it is thicker than the iPhone, but not
5.5 inches, guys.
It is not significantly thicker than the iPhone.
Yeah, these two phones have the same size screen.
Yeah, so I haven't had that problem with the LG G3. So if you just put a little bit more forethought into the design, you wouldn't have this kind of problem. They're trying to do.
Can we have the Lumia next, please?
No, my favorite actually. Let me do this. So this is the LG G Flex, which has a 6-inch screen, and it's
meant to be curved, everyone.
But when you hold it up, it's almost the same size as the 5.5-inch screen on the iPhone, and that flips me out. Like that's crazy to me. LG has done an amazing job of cramming larger screens into. It's like Time Lord technology. It's it's bigger on the inside.
So I guess it boils down to design. A lot of wasted space, like you said there, Sam. We have a question here from Wayne Glasgow, and this is going to the point that Warren stated. I asked someone why Apple gets away with so much, and the reason I got is Apple is an American phone maker. People are not as hard on them as they see their supporting their own kind. Maybe that might be the case, or maybe they're just fanboying sheep.
Cheap.
Okie dokie. All right, cool. So, any more thoughts on the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus now that we've spent some more time?
Outside of just Bendgate, what have your guys' experience been with the 6 Plus?
I haven't had too much more experience yet.
Oh, okay.
I was raising my hand up, but nobody saw me, so. I am highly disappointed.
Highly disappointed.
Highly and hugely.
Please do elaborate.
First of all, a lot of applications on the 6 Plus are not optimized. It looks like me looking at standard def video.
Oh yeah.
On a high
No. That's been a really common complaint. App developers have not run out to support the newer screen resolutions just yet. And this should also, if you want to talk about another mini uselessness, then shouldn't we be having conversations about how fragmented the iOS ecosystem is now with all these different screen resolutions?
Whoa, Juan, calm down. We can't go this hard on Apple.
Yes. So for me, that's the first thing. The second thing is I realize iOS 8 and the design concept does not fit a large screen.
That's my biggest complaint. I still think it's snappy. I think it's one of the smoothest performing phones I've used in a while. I think launching into the camera app is one of the fastest experiences available on any phone, even though I think the camera performance is sort of mid-pack at best. All of that's super clean. I don't know that Apple has given us a reason to go up to a larger screen size.
Yes.
When you compare the Galaxy S5 to the Galaxy Note, you have very different experiences. They are going after a different usage scenario with the Note, and I think that's one of the main reasons why the Note has been far more successful than any other tablet that's come to bear so far. And I kind of feel like all of those criticisms when we started talking about tablets, all you're going to do is make a bigger phone. Apple kind of fell into that trap with the 6 Plus. There really isn't a usage scenario with the 6 Plus that I feel I need that larger screen. And I'm also just really tired of my keyboard changing shape and size because of the different apps out there.
Oh, God have mercy. Thank you. Keyboard changes shapes and size. I downloaded Swift keys, right?
Yeah.
It keeps reverting back to the main Apple key on the keyboard once in a while. And then this is the most annoying thing, right? So on any Android device, take even or even a Windows phone, right? You have a back button at the bottom, right? So whenever you want to go back, so if you're not like me who has big fingers who can go to that top right-hand corner, you have to do this silly thing of double tapping. Now, if you make a mistake and double click, you go into multitask.
Mm-hmm.
So a picture of a toilet?
No, it's the dining table set.
Oh.
Something like that. But if you don't have big hands like me where you can easily hit done there, you're going to either have to hold it with 2 hands or double tap, mistake, double click, and then you've got something else entirely. And when you said iOS is smooth, I don't think it's as smooth on the 6 Plus. It doesn't feel smooth to me. It feels
I've been having pretty good experiences, and then again, I'm kind of like bouncing back and forth between the 6 Plus and say the LG G3, and I think it really does showcase the super high resolution screen on the G3. Definitely introduces a small performance hit just to render elements of the UI. You're at 2560 by 1440 just to show off your home screen before you even start displaying apps or playing games or anything like that. And so while iOS 8 is still having some teething pains, we went through that initial update, which thankfully I didn't have the opportunity to download so that it couldn't brick my phone.
Yes, Alex did, and Apple has told him 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Yeah.
Wow.
So wait a minute. I thought there was a procedure where you could roll back. There isn't one?
No, his phone is dead.
Dead for 2 weeks. Okay.
Like, dead.
Well,
you know what's never... No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. No,
I'm sorry. I'm looking at a table full of phablets right here, and I've never had a phone crippling update from... And I'm on developer preview on my 1520. And I've never had one. I mean, I've had updates where the battery life drained 5 times faster. I've had updates where the camera got blurry. I've had updates where the screen, like tapped away features would flake out. I haven't had one where I couldn't make a phone call for 2 weeks.
No. Let's be realistic here. Let's break it down to exactly what's going on. You haven't had an update after you bought a phone within that 1 week of buying the phone that breaks the phone that you just spent that money on.
Yeah. Yeah, that is Sam. That was very concise. Thank you very much.
But at the end of the day, it's okay. So I've had very limited interaction with the 6 Plus, right? I went into a store and I took a look at it, just because hey, if I'm going to talk about something, I want to at least look at it. And before I went in, I had the whole idea like, hey, it looks like a HTC phone. Great. I go in and I'm using it, and right away it strikes me. Apple is the new HTC. Seriously, they make a 4.7-inch phone, and then they make a 5.5 that's basically just a blown-up version of the 4.7. They have an iPad mini that's basically a blown-up version of their smartphones, and they have a regular iPad that's a blown-up version of everything else. So basically, they're making the same thing in just different form factor. Welcome, Apple, to the HTC ecosystem.
You know, the one thing I'll give HTC over that, though, is that they usually just stick with one resolution. Like, it's just 1080p.
They're not even doing it right.
Right. Now, I mean, I'm saying, like, you'll give HTC some credit. At least they're not screwing with, the basics for how the UI should be rendered.
Okay. Before we continue, we have a lot of comments and questions from people. Wayne Glasgow says, "Hey, leave Apple alone. I bought an iPhone 5S clone for my girl." It'd be a great excuse why Touch ID isn't working. Thanks, Apple. Good one, Wayne.
Nicely done, Wayne.
Lynn Marie says, "Why did Apple compromise on integrity and leave out magnesium alloy skeleton for the thinness and weight?"
That's a great idea.
Thank you.
Injection molded magnesium would probably that totally answers my question, Lynn. That would actually do, I think, a really good job. If you could rail the sides of the phone with magnesium, that's it's a little bit more brittle, but it would be less flex prone.
Exactly.
To kind of build the rest of the phone out with.
And then she also says that is why I now carry the 1520 for 9 months. Apple also needs to move up the RAM from 1 gigabytes. Do you agree?
I don't know that I agree. I think you need to move up RAM when you move up things like 4K video recording.
Well,
Apple doesn't properly multitask. The OS handles resources in a different way than Android does. Until you start needing more space for buffer on things like video recording, I don't know that you need to move to 2 gigabytes of RAM. I think that's a spec that doesn't necessarily influence the performance.
I think it does because
I always think RAM is one of the biggest.
Because I mean, just from my experiences, that like I said, the transition is just looks slow. To me, this feels slow.
Well, I think that's on purpose, though. Apple has always built video and animation transitions to hide when the system is working. That's always been an Apple aesthetic, and that it is supposed to be a deliberate action, not something like on my LG. It's like if you're at like 45 degrees and you start flipping the screen over, and I'm like, no, I can't reach the other side of the screen. Stop doing that. So, but like, and this is one of those things, like, especially coming from Windows phones and Androids, where we are a little bit more specs conscious and things like 2 gigabytes of RAM versus 3 gigabytes of RAM. Remember, we only made the jump to 3 gigabytes of RAM once we started doing things like providing for 4K video recording, and Android really wasn't allocating 2 gigabytes of RAM. 3 gigabytes of RAM. And Android was allocating 2 gigabytes of RAM towards system performance, and that third gigabyte of RAM was for things like content creation. And that's how Samsung got around those buffer issues, because they also still needed to provide for an operating system which had full support for real multitasking.
Yeah,
so since Apple doesn't do that, on both fronts, Apple doesn't have a multitasking OS. It's sort of a halfway sort of multitasking OS. And that they're not, you won't ever be able to shoot proper 4K video because the sensor isn't high enough resolution. I don't really feel that that's going to be like a huge determining factor until Apple steps up. Now, what I think is funny is it's a 64-bit OS with 1 gigabyte of RAM.
Yeah.
That I think is just kind of why. If like the main reason we went to 64-bit on desktops and laptops was so that we could assign more than 4 gigs of RAM in the system, and that doesn't seem to be a problem with Apple.
Yes,
mobile devices.
Any more thoughts before we move on and from Apple and?
No, I think we can move on.
Yeah, okay. All right. HTC's event is coming up on the 8th, and some of the rumors have come out for the two devices they're going to be announcing. One is an action camera that looks like a tube cam. We've seen some videos, at least of camera in action, of the camera itself. And the other one is the HTC One M8i. Yes, again, HTC has another device coming out on the M8 line. This one sets to feature a 13 megapixel duo camera. So now they finally left that 4 megapixel crap way long ago and they've moved up. So your thoughts on both devices, the action cam and the dual camera? The HTC One M8i.
It's interesting. I think it's really interesting because I think Sony came out with an action cam as well. The new, what's it called, Hero, I think 4 is going to be coming out soon. Yeah. So there seems to be somewhat of a battlefield in that whole action camera sector. So
Action Jackson. Sorry.
It'll be interesting. It'll be really interesting to see basically the kind of content that gets created with this, because I think this is the next natural evolution to basically. Self-publishing. Now you can just strap a camera to yourself to have your everyday life or whatever, and just take a snippet of it and put it online. So we'll see how HTC fares. It looks as though this thing is waterproof. One of the pictures shows a lady in
the pool. Yeah.
Yeah, but that looks like the Gansevoort. But
hey, look, this is not your usual stomping grounds. Okay, stop calling places you go to.
Right. No, just the pool area just looks very similar to it. But yeah, pretty cool.
How about you, Juan?
After having played with, because I've been going through on the Kodak, the SP1 and SP360, I really wish more people would kind of give these little cameras a shot. Outside of just the GoPro, there are these phenomenal little, ruggedly built, usually including some kind of Wi-Fi. You can use your phone as a viewfinder. You can set them up in interesting places, do time-lapse photography, do fisheye photography, do crazy videos, throw them in pools, let your kids play with them. I think it's a great next step in in sort of homegrown content creation, and it'll make your vacation photos and videos way more interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm stoked to see that. I'm really curious because we keep saying on the HTC M8i about it being another duo camera. And my biggest problem with the M8 isn't the low resolution, it's the lack of image stabilization, leading to some funky software tricks that need to be employed for video and low light photography. And that was why, it's the main reason why I still sort of prefer the camera on the M7 over the M8, is I think image stabilization makes a bigger difference in the quality of your photos and smoothing out your video than any of the other tricks we've seen, like especially playing with a couple different LGs. You know, laser focus is awesome, but you know what? If my phone focuses and then my video is super jerky because I've got shaky hands, that's not as big a benefit. So instead of laser focus, I would prefer having image stabilization.
Yeah, laser focus is awesome on the G3. It allows me to take pictures of sunflowers while walking real fast. And that picture gets you a 1+1.
Bam. But I mean, like, you know, because I'm playing with the G3, and then I just got the G3 Vigor, their sort of mid-ranger, and it's got laser focus, but it doesn't have image stabilization. So I can focus really well, but the output isn't quite as nice.
Yeah.
Those are the things that I really hope that, I mean, are addressed in some degree, and I think it's going to be even harder with a duo sensor to employ some kind of actual hardware image stabilization, because how do you sync up two moving lenses, which are probably receiving different force feedback at subtly different times being on different parts of the phone? And if it's another non-image stabilized camera, I'm probably going to have the same issues with the eye that I have with the regular vanilla M8.
Okay. How about you, Warren?
The action cam is pretty interesting. We'll see how that all sort of plays out. Actually, we've been reviewing a couple of different, a different one, sort of those action cameras that we've been putting through the paces right now, and that's interesting. It's nice to see someone other than GoPros and like Contour doing that. So HTC doing that, we'll see, and hopefully it'll have some type of data connectivity or something to, you know, instantly share or you know, and whatnot. The M8i is just making another damn M8. It's like another damn M8. Great. Everybody's gonna be mad they bought the one they bought 4 months ago. Oh, new M8. Guess what? 13 megapixel camera. Really? The things that people try to call Samsung for doing when they come out with new phones so often, HTC actually burns their fans.
All right, cool, interesting. In my case, I'm excited to see the action camera because I'm using this one from Liquid Image. I used it partially for the Porsche video, but then again, software has been terrible on this, so I need something else that I can use.
Let me hook you up with my Kodak people, because I've been digging the crap out of the SPs.
Please do, because I would love to do more car stuff with a better camera. I mean, I had to use the Lumiere 1020 because of that optical image stabilization in the car.
Yeah.
The video didn't shake. I was like, yes. You know, I think it's nice, especially if you now have an action camera that works with every single phone with a simple Android app, you know, without any issues. You know, I think that would be really cool, where I can switch, you know, between whichever device I have or go through and make that work. If they were smart, they could work with an iPhone too. Submit an iPhone app. Just do it. Be done. Throw it in there. The eye, same thing. I mean, it's HTC repeating this themselves like they did last year and the year before that. And they will continue until they eventually learn that they need to do what LG does. Make one very goddamn good phone, call it a day, and come back next year and make a better one of that one and call it a day.
Well, I mean, to be fair, LG is also now starting to do the same thing. I've got the G3 Vigor.
No, true. But those are this. HTC is doing.
Well, and the M8i is supposed to have a 5.2-inch screen, so that's, you know, like merk.
Exactly. Yeah, but it's really like all over the place. You know, there's the M8 Prime.
Okay, so here's I'll because I don't disagree with you guys, but I will play devil's advocate one more time because I need HTC to be competitive, and I actually really do like their products. In that I will give them the benefit of the doubt on this could be a positive turn if this was brought about by them listening to their customers and saying, hey, we love the speakers. It's a snappy, responsive UI. We don't like the camera. And if this is their response to people saying we don't like the camera, then I'm going to say more power to them actually trying to improve one of their products because we've been complaining. And I'm not going to complain about them listening to us complaining.
Well, I would basically even get more specific and say if all you're doing is increasing how many megapixels they have in that camera.
Well, and that's why we need to see like what the actual implementation of
because they really don't need to do too much in that camera. If they add up the image stabilization and they increase the megapixels on there.
Well, because the megapixels do give you the ability to crop, which some people are going to really care about, especially if you have to hack into your photos to make squares for Instagram. And then they're also it's also going to give you the ability to shoot 4K video, which you can't do on a 4-megapixel sensor. You have to step up to a higher resolution sensor. So, I mean, that resolution does come with a few other, pretty substantial benefits now that we're getting into phones that can process images radically fast. But it won't improve the quality or the composition of your stills. It'll just give you better cropping and zooming capability.
I'm just going to say that HTC still has one of the best low-light cameras in the most recent generation of phones that I've used. They still have.
Oh yeah, definitely. I would definitely say they
I got to give it to them.
One of the best for low light. I've taken some great low light photos before, and it's HTC One. Really does a great job with that.
Yeah, it does. Quick one. We have a shout out here on Instagram from Photo Fantastic. Shout out to Booredatwork, Thumb Gadget Guy, and BW1 watching his live stream on my Apple TV on a
Whoops. Sorry, we were talking some trash about Apple.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you're still watching, man. Thanks. Appreciate it. Okay, so we finished with that. Sony also has an event on the 9th. No details on what this event will be. Most people are thinking it's Xperia Z3. What are your thoughts? Do you think Sony can make some changes, make some strides?
I'm going to sum this up very quickly here. Very, very quickly. Let's face facts here. They're going to announce this phone. We will not see it here in America. And we'll see it at CES announced again as something compact. And then 9 months later, it will come out.
The end.
This is coming out on T-Mobile because T-Mobile already mentioned it was coming out the fall before even this announcement. So I think it's going to hit T-Mobile. But T-Mobile is just going to... It is going to...
I'm just saying. I like Sony and all, but like their phones are just like they suffer from HTC syndrome more than most.
I like how it went from what Samsung does. Now it's HTC syndrome.
How about you, Juan? What do you think?
I don't know what to think. I've been in a love-hate with Sony for a while, where I can't get any sort of access to their products, and I really, 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 really want to like what Sony's doing. And the Z3 Compact looks amazing, and it's maybe going to be one of the last opportunities for people to buy a high-end, premier, no compromise or less compromising small form factor experience. And I can't ever really talk about it because I never get to play with them. So like what Warren was saying, is you never get these things here, and I want them.
Oh, if we get them, they're like 7 months after they're already been announced.
And at that point, it's like we're already moving on to an entirely new generation of hardware after that point. That's how fast this stuff is cycling. And so it's very disappointing, and especially knowing that Sony gave up their laptop and desktop division. They're putting all of their money on, they're banking a lot of their strategy on PS4, content delivery, streaming gaming, and then they kept Android so that they would have one last hardware repository where they could shift some of those services. And then they're making it more difficult for consumers in the United States to get those pieces of hardware. Is a very frustrating thing to try and discuss.
Yeah, the thing was that their whole big move was all about going from moving away from the PC market, going smartphones and tablets and fitness devices, wearables. That was their biggest thing, and that was the thing they were supposed to be pushing out. And we heard all this talk at CES about smartphones, tablets, all these other different things, and reality is we haven't seen much of, if at all, any of it. If it's come out, it's come out much later, where something's already surpassed it. It's come out to very less fanfare, and realistically, you know, we know Sony's about to lose, I think, $250 million, or $2.5 billion, whatever loss it's about to be. You know, how long are they going to be in smartphones and tablets? Because realistically, Sony needs to, I think, I know this is getting to a Sony bash fest. We're talking about the X3 here, but Sony really, what are they known? What their best divisions are the ones they don't even advertise, which is the digital imaging department. That's like the thing they're doing the absolute best in.
Yeah, they're absolutely killing that right now.
Killing that right now. People love to get Sony cameras because of the quality and and they last. And they're great products. They compete very well in that market. They're doing very well in the gaming market right now, competing with Xbox and the Wii U in that market. The television market's dwindling as it's always been, but they're Sony. They can always kind of be in that. They're such a staple in that they don't need to go away. Somebody's going to buy their TVs regardless of what they price it at. But everything else, the content delivery services, the smartphones, the tablets, the fitness devices, it's just like they're so lost. It's so hard to have an opinion on them. It's so hard to care because it's like it's
like you almost get punished for caring because they're going to deny you this stuff anyway.
Exactly. It's like Sony has some really cool phones that you see them like, damn, that's a really nice phone. But it's just like you never get it, and it's just like.
You know, I think Sony as a company.
That's a rant, but it's just like I'll continue to watch. I think E driving down the Mass Pike.
No, I think
last place I'd want to drive down with an expensive car.
I think Sony just has a lot of management issues. Like you said, they have a lot of product as a company that they should be at the same level where Samsung is.
Absolutely.
They should be competing, because if Sony had if Sony was run by us, the Power 4 right now, I can tell you that literally you could compact that movie division so that you have a constant stream of product that delivers on every single device you have in a very seamless fashion.
Free Spider-Man first.
You know, and no, I wouldn't free Spider-Man. I will actually keep it and then bring guys to actually fix the stuff. But then you also have your camera division, which, like you said, they don't highlight at all. But we all know Sony cameras are on point. I mean,
those are another difficult product to try to get reviews and hands on with their cameras and imaging as well. And it's just like they get away with that because
actually it's easier to probably get the camera than the phone.
It is by a lot. By a lot.
And that's no money though.
Not a lot. But the thing is, it's like, when we go to these shows and events, and if they're not using, a lot of people in the tech industry, especially dealing with multimedia, mostly use SLRs for the most part. SLR, so it's usually like a Canon, a Nikon, or Sony, one of Sony's like micro cameras or whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But if it's a camcorder, 98% of them are Sony. They're almost.
It's social media week, and I was watching everybody sort of explain why they made the jump from Canon or Nikon to Sony. It was almost prolific. I was talking to people. It's like, I used to have a Samsung, now I'm on Sony. I used to have a Canon, now I'm using the Sony. It's formidable.
People ask me what camera I use for most of my videos, and it's this camera right here, the HDR CX550. I've had this camera probably for about 4 to 5 years now. People are still amazed at the quality that comes out of it. It's just like, that's the type of stuff Sony makes in their camera division that a lot of people know about, but the public don't know nothing about. So that's why, because for some reason, Canon's point and shoot still dominate, even though they're mostly utter crap.
Nah. Well, you spend a lot of money.
Sony's point and shoots are way better than Canon's point and shoots.
Oh, yeah, point and shoots.
That hands down.
People still use point and shoots.
All right, so before we continue bashing Sony, what we're saying is that hopefully something will change with this event, but most likely not. So moving on to another company that
we're cheering for you. I want you to do better.
That just announced and launched a device this week. BlackBerry launched the Passport. Woo! Show your squares, baby. Show your squares.
Okay, so now on to entertainment of the week.
Thank you.
That's all we need to say on that.
So, any thoughts on the Passport? Anyone? I know I haven't touched it, but any?
Nobody probably will in America, so yeah.
Yeah, and that's another
Who's
one.
closest to Canada?
I really want to play with one. I do. I don't want to live in a world where BlackBerry isn't something.
You are in that world.
No, I mean, like,
Deal with it.
I don't want to live in that world. That's what I'm saying. Is like I want to see BlackBerry service as a services company, but if they're going to continue saying that they need to be a hardware company, then they need to get hardware out into people's hands. And the Passport is a really interesting idea. It's a really interesting design. I like playing with form factors. I'm kind of tired of everything being a 16:9 slab of glass. I want to see companies experimenting again with different form factors, different services, different features.
LG tried that form factor with their what was that thing called? The Voo. Yeah.
Oh.
Didn't work out so well.
Yeah, but I also think, like, if BlackBerry's gonna tweak, if any company needs to start tweaking and needs to start taking some risks, it's absolutely BlackBerry.
Well,
so
I think
I'm happy to see it out. I'm happy to see that Crackberry can play with it. And I hope that
they've been doing
can
for the
make
last
a little
few
noise
years.
on it.
But I think the speaking with BlackBerry, it's nice to see they're coming out with something. It's definitely focused on a specific industry. They're really now focused on industries that need a certain level of security regulations, and not so much the consumer market. The Passport is probably a device we will probably not see across all carriers, and if it does, it's going to be a very limited release. In most cases, you'll probably see. You will probably. Maybe.
Yeah. AT&T is the only person who would care.
No, the funny thing is, Verizon's very big on BlackBerry. I can see this showing up on Verizon first because they have a lot of business users who use BlackBerries, and I can see them making some ridiculously stupid exclusive like they did with the BlackBerry Storm, and then and market it like it's the they can put a big Verizon check on it and a little tramp stamp and do it. But I can see them. Honestly, I can see them doing that before anyone else. But I think they'll have that, and then they'll have like an unlocked version that'll just be able to work on AT&T and T-Mobile for users that sort of want to get those.
All BlackBerry phones work on every single carrier because they carry every single band. So.
Yeah, but
remember,
and they are good solutions for travelers because.
Yeah. But Verizon will find a way to software block it. So, anyways, I'm just telling the truth here. Sorry, it's just that's what they do.
Well, Lou Rod just posted. They sold out of units at 200,000 for their first day. So not bad. I mean,
how many of those were in Canada?
Probably 195,000 of them.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, but it's still.
But they need to be strong on home turf. I mean, if they're Canada's darling, they need to be
strong
servicing their community first. And if they can start getting positive buzz there, that'll hit worldwide media, worldwide markets, and then they can start filtering into other countries.
I really don't see this thing. I don't see this thing hitting the U.S. in the fall. I see this probably hitting somewhere in the beginning of next year, where there's not that much buzz, not that much new phone talk about. Everybody's waiting for MWC, and I can see them trickling this device out there slowly and just letting people get to. Like I can picture it in my mind a Verizon exclusive with a white version and a black version, both with the Verizon tramp stamp on it, and then they'll have like an unlocked version that'll work on T-Mobile and AT&T, and Sprint will just sit there with the thumbs up their butt, I suppose. So I don't know.
All right. Any thoughts there, Sam?
Where's the phone? I'm amazed at it. I'm looking at this thing.
Well, supposedly I've heard the keyboard, you can swipe on that keyboard too. Instead of just typing, you can actually physically swipe on the physical keyboard. It'd be interesting just to see if it works.
Why?
I don't understand this device. I just don't. It scares me.
I'm confused.
I'm actually somewhat confused. But
ladies and gentlemen, we have two reviewers here who are stuck in a time warp and do not know what to do with a BlackBerry Passport. It looks like a crazy device. Where is Doctor Who to help them, please?
I need some assistance with this. No, but it's BlackBerry.
Slap a Canada logo on it. Just put the Canada's flag hang around the back.
Oh, Canada.
That should be the startup sound.
No, it looks interesting. That's the most I can say about it. Really, it looks very interesting.
What I want to know is if they're going to come up with a smaller version of that's cheaper, that's going to be able to go into emerging markets that data is very expensive for, that they do very well in. Or are they just going to come out with like the 15th version of the Curve?
Well, I don't think they might, but also the price range for this stuff is not that bad. It's $596 unlocked or $590 unlocked. So besides Canada, it's probably most likely going to go to Southeast Asia immediately because that's where they still do well outside of North America. So at less than $600, where people are used to buying phones anyway unlocked, that's actually not bad. That's not a bad price. But we'll see. Like you said, it might come to America in beginning of next year.
I think 2015 is a good number. If they came out in the fall right now, they'd be completely slaughtered.
It would be wide.
Too many big phones coming out.
Speaking of more launches this week, first of all, Samsung announced the the Gear S is coming to America. T-Mobile is getting it, AT&T is getting it, Verizon didn't say anything, and Sprint didn't mention anything either.
They will at some point.
So we do know it's coming. So we'll hopefully get to play with that.
Did they send out a press release for this?
They sent out like a blast, basically, because they haven't set a date yet for it.
Yeah.
And the Galaxy Alpha launched this week on Friday. I haven't seen the device physically. Heard good things. The Verge.
You sure? I see a Samsung box there behind you. What's in there?
I don't know.
He's got the Note Edge. Get him.
Next we see people go.
And that's when Juan jumped through his computer monitor, through the internet, and into Thunder.
Give me that Note Edge.
I think what I think is funny is yet again when the 6 Plus came out, we shared those photos of The Verge talking crap about how unwieldy Note 3 was, and how the 6 Plus was just so graceful for being such a large screen phone. And they did the same thing with the iPhone 6 is just this beautiful display, so high resolution and everything so crisp and clear, and then the Galaxy Alpha. How could anyone use this thing? It's such a low resolution display, and it doesn't have as many pixels as the Galaxy S5, and it's just a horrible experience. And you're like, this is exactly the kind of stuff that I hate when we deal with sites that deal in confirmation bias. You don't go there to get reviews. You go there to get your opinion confirmed.
Validation.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's
we didn't even talk about that. Should have been added to useless that stupid article that what's the name put out saying I have a confirmation bias. And I'm sitting there like, I got through 2 paragraphs of that and like you're full of it, dude.
Warren, Juan, did you see? You didn't see it. So I can remember who on The Verge put out an article stating I have a confirmation bias or device bias, and you should be happy. That's why I write my reviews. I read the headline and I read the first paragraph. I went into physically. I swear to God, if I saw this guy in public, I would slap him 2 sideways, and then send him home and say, "Never write anything again."
No. The thing is, him and then the idiot decided to post it. Actually publish.
That's a great editing work right there. That's a great editor they have right there.
Well, but that's the case, and going back to Juan's original point is that when you mention the iPhone 6 has a crisp display at 750p with lower PPIs than the Alpha, which you don't find. Granted, it's 720. It's pretty much around the same range.
Right.
And then your iPhone 6 Plus doesn't come close to any phablet there is right now.
Yep.
Even the Galaxy, maybe the Galaxy Note 2.
That was 720p,
that was.
Well, the Galaxy Note. Oh yeah, the Galaxy Note 2 was 720p. That's right.
Okay, it was 720. Okay, so better than the Galaxy Note 2, but doesn't come close. Then you're just picking and choosing just because you want to write clickbait articles, and that goes back to that. But going back to the Alpha, I think it was smart that Samsung announced the Alpha and released the Alpha in the US, not necessarily because they're going to sell lots of units, but just to give people that ability to buy something else than on an iPhone 6.
It's called them throwing out another test device to see what happens.
It's absolutely a test device, and it's one where they're trying to have a conversation about perceived experience and luxury. And you don't really need specs for that. You need to have finer build materials. You need to have a slightly more polished software experience, maybe a more refined software experience. And if they can start making that play, then I say more power to them.
Let's say this sells 1 million to 2 units. This influences what they might do with the the S6, the next version of the Galaxy series. You never know. Or they might continue this series as a different sort of, alpha series instead of the S series or something. Or one influences another. It's them, like the alphas, like the Note Edge. Just like, well, I'm gonna throw this out here. Let's see what happens. And hey, that's where they got the Galaxy Note line. They invaded the phablet market and dominated, and then no one's coming close to ever touching them on that. They said, here's the Galaxy Note. And I always tell the story that people ask, like, well, why is the Galaxy Note so popular? I said, I remember when that original Note came out, they didn't even send that to people. You had to go to New York and sit with about a 30-minute training on how it worked before they gave you a review unit on it.
Yeah, that was smart then.
That was very smart of them to do that.
Mm-hmm.
We have a comment here from Mike Perez. He says, FYI, the 200,000 units was from Amazon and shop at BlackBerry.com. You can already buy it for the US unlocked.
Okay.
So
with what carriers will it support?
I don't know.
Probably everyone but Sprint, Verizon, probably.
If it's BlackBerry unlocked, then it should be everything because they actually usually.
Well, I have CDMA on it though. That's always the.
Yeah, it always does. All BlackBerries do. So I mean, we'll see. If you have to just go check it out. But moving on from the Galaxy Alpha, Nexus 6 leaks. We now know with some high confirmation from leaked pictures. And what Alex saw at Motorola, it's going to be a Motorola phone. It's going to be a big Moto X. Yeah.
Didn't they already make the Droid X? Didn't they already make an X called the Droid X that was big?
Yeah, so the Shamu. Funny they call it Shamu, though. It's like they're taking Lenovo names now.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, that's right. But anyway, it's so your thoughts. It's gonna be almost 6 inches, 2K display, 13 megapixel shooter, wireless charging, the works.
What's it gonna matter if the software doesn't match what the phablet can do? And that's exactly what Google's not going to include in it. So,
Exactly. There we go. Good thing.
Another big screen phone. Samsung continues to dominate.
I really think it's just going to come down to price. I mean, you start talking Nexus, and you get the hardcore Nexus fans out there. Well, I would buy this phone if it were $325 instead of $335. I mean, you really start getting into that kind of nitpicky, nuanced discussion, and I think this is where Google has another opportunity to push the Nexus line as market disruptor again. I'm playing with a $330 mid-ranger phone that subtly, but not as much as you would think, outperforms the $100 phones that you can get from Nokia. If you would compare that mid-ranger against a $350 or a $375 Nexus, that's a really good fight because the Nexus is going to outperform it, and it gives Google an opportunity to kind of take a stab at some of the Chinese manufacturers and 1+1. Specifically to say, well, this is our phone and we support it. You don't have to get your software from CyanogenMod, and we have a much better handle on QA and build quality, and we're working with a legitimate manufacturing partner. And I think it shuts down some of those conversations since you still can't go out and buy a 1+1. So that's where the Nexus has an opportunity to do something really cool. The fact that it's just going to be another big screen phone, I don't really think that's a positive or a negative. I mean, it's just it just will be. But even though the Nexus phones have been cheap in the past, it doesn't mean that they've ever been top sellers. So it'll just be another resource for people to consider when they look at the Android ecosystem.
Okay. Sam?
Does that phone have no flash on the rear camera?
No, what?
No flash on the rear camera.
No, there's flash. There's actually 2 dots on the side for flash.
That's the flash there. Oh, okay. Yeah, like, wow.
Sorry, before you continue, Giovanni Zappi says, actually, the Passport is not CDMA compatible, will not work with Verizon. So I was wrong, and it's not coming to Verizon.
Of course not. Verizon and Sprint will be able to use it. It's the same old story every single time with these phones.
Just continue there, Sam. Apologize.
And is there a button on the back, or is it just a Motorola logo?
Is the Motorola dimple.
Oh, so it's not actually a button.
So it's this dimple here. So it'll be a Nexus dimple.
Okay, that's some interesting stuff there. Some Motorola is being confirmed as having made it, and the phone just looks black. That's awesome picture of the rear side of the phone. What does the front look like? But wow, 5.92.
It looks like that's going to be a 13 megapixel camera with OIS. I think it's going to have it because that's a pretty big camera.
yeah, OIS, which it's not included on the Moto X, but Google wants OIS on this from all indications. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. And as long as the price point stays within the Nexus price points,
$349.
yeah, a lot of people would still be excited for that. So, I don't think it's a bad thing, but we'll see how that goes.
I think it's just a way to get developers to start developing for big screen phones. And it's just an easier way for them to develop for it, to make sure the apps work well on it and stuff that's fine,
Yeah, but you have the Galaxy Note. It's been out and.
But you don't really have a developer version of that unless you go from Samsung, jump through 6 hoops, and try to find one of those. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like you can't get you could go get a developer 1M8. You can go get a developer.
Yeah, but has that spurred any development that's any different? I mean, like
it just helps
more than all those phones combined.
It just helps in development if you want to create something and you want to make sure it works on a certain set of screens, certain spec styles and such like that. It does really help, and you want base Android on it to work with, and not have to worry about the UI elements from the other from the companies. Okay. But I mean, we'll see.
All right, cool. Any more tech news this week before we move to entertainment stuff? Did we miss anything important? Any news of note? Anyone have anything to chime in as we look around?
Nope, let's go to entertainment.
Okay, cool. All right, first up, entertainment. Anyone see Gotham? And I didn't put that on the list, but did we see Gotham this week? Anybody?
Yeah, I thought it was solid.
I haven't downloaded it. I haven't watched it yet.
Okay, so you haven't watched it yet, and you haven't watched it yet, Warren, either, right?
No, I haven't. It's not something I'm interested in. I don't know. It just doesn't pique my.
Yeah, I saw it too. It was solid. Yeah, it was a good start. I actually liked Jada Pinkett as a mini boss in that. She came off pretty well. Because considering she hasn't done much in years.
Well, but then also, what I liked about her character was that she was sort of a prototype Batman villain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she wasn't quite as fully formed a character that we know from the rest of the Batman ecosystem, and we're watching sort of how various characters in the Batman ecosystem sort of get their beginnings. And so she's sort of this raw, close to what we would expect from a Batman villain, but not quite. She's a little over the top. She's a little crazy, but she doesn't quite have the psychosis.
Psychosis, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's
right.
No,
that thing. Oh no, she's off that show now. I was about to say.
Yeah, she hasn't done much major. Let's call it that. Yeah. Let me say much. I'll say major.
I was about to say she had a TV show with Hawthorne for like a while.
No, that was 2 seasons, right?
3 seasons. It's still on.
Is it?
Yeah.
No, she's not on the show, but I guess.
No. Their character left in 2011.
Okay. But yeah, I think that's a good start. And then, DC, looks like DC is throwing everything out on the small screen, from Arrow to Flash to Constantine, Gotham. Supergirl just got picked up by CBS. We talked about that last week, how CBS felt left out.
I want one too.
Yeah, they felt left out, and they picked up the show without actually even seeing a draft.
Wow.
So they picked up the whole season, and basically rumors just came out that the guys who were doing Arrow and Flash were like, "Oh, we're thinking of doing the Supergirl show," and CBS was like, "Me,
yes,
me." So I think that's hilarious to see. Anyone check out the Keanu Reeves trailer, John Wick?
No, I didn't get a chance to see that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you should. I saw the news of Bill and Ted's going to be made. I was like, okay, Keanu is getting some of his core stuff back. And then I saw the trailer for John Wick. Yeah, I mean, look.
And then before you know it, he'll be in the next Speed sequel.
Oh no, I kid you not. So yesterday.
Oh God, Speed.
Yes,
As long as they bring Sandra Bullock back, I'm good.
yeah, exactly. Yesterday, they
Yeah.
actually asked him. They
That'd
said,
actually be pretty cool.
"Would you do a Speed 3?" He's
I
like,
would watch that movie.
He's
Yeah, I
like,
would too.
definitely, yeah. So I was like, okay, it looks like he's trying to get those things. But if you get a chance, check out the trailer of John Wick. John Wick is your prototypical. I am an old action star, and here's a movie about me kicking ass, aka Taken. Let's call it like
Oh
Taken.
God, this is even shot Taken style.
Yeah, it is. No, but the storyline is so awesome.
Did somebody just kill his dog?
Dog. Yes. And he goes ape shit.
What is he? Is this Anbach or something?
Okay, let me point this out. They stole the guy's pretty awesome car, but because they killed his dog, he goes apeshit. I would have gone apeshit for the car. I'm just saying.
And just like what's
No,
his name?
you
Tony Jaa. It's
messed
like
up my
Tony
car, I'm so
Jaa.
sad, but
It's like Tony Jaa and like what is it? Was it Anbach when he's jacking up those dudes because they killed his elephant?
No, it's an awesome trailer. Trust me, you have to check it out because it's one of those where it just explains in like some of the trailer where the kid steals his car. His father's a mob boss. John Leguizamo says, "Where did you get that car?" He's like, "Does it matter?" He knocks him out, and his dad is like, "It's not what you stole the car; it's who you stole it from." And it's John Wick. And you see Keanu just like, going through all these different action sequences. It's really cool. Yeah, it's definitely a movie I want to check out. And also, early reviews have actually praised the movie so far. So it will be fun to see if Keanu can get that at Humpback. Anyone check out the Jupiter Ascending trailer?
yeah.
Thoughts?
I'm tentatively very excited and just a little anxious. I love movies with scope. I worry that sometimes Hollywood execs are right about trying to convey a message about new IP or new property, so I hope it does well. I really hope it does well because I want to see more filmmakers taking risks on some of these big, bold pieces.
Anything that's not a part 3 of something that came out 4 years ago would be awesome.
Yeah. No,
I mean, the model for that has been Inception. That's like one of the few films that's really
God, I'm not gonna lie. I just read the synopsis of the character in Juniper, and why did Daenerys Targaryen just pop in my head as I was reading the damn thing?
For what?
Just the way the story, like the way they were talking about the character's sort of background and where she's coming up as, and it's just like, oh, Channing Tatum shows up. I said, God, this is Drogo? Okay. I'm just reading it, and it's just like, what is this like? And I couldn't figure. I was like, really. Really? Take advantage. It's hot now. Might as well take advantage of it.
I mean, yeah, but I do like watching this last trailer. I do like the scope they brought. The fact that they told you more of this world that Earth was only made 100,000. I mean, well, humans on Earth were made 100,000 years ago by just being planted on the planet, and reincarnation is just genetic. What's the word to use?
Like recycling?
Yeah. Basically, when a genetic sequence shows up the same way it was, from how many years back, that is what reincarnation is. From the trailer, it looks like they've created this very big, massive world. My fear is that they may not be able to convey all that scope into the movie without being either super long or you needing a part 2 or something for you to really, get into it. So
This is from the Wachowski brothers?
Yeah, from the Wachowski. But I mean, it looks like visually when you
Who
see
they Jack this time? Somebody's gonna say it. Who they Jack this time?
I have no idea, but hopefully this is all theirs because it looks pretty massive. And the good thing is it's coming out in February, which means it's going to be good counter programming to all that Lovecraft movies that we're going to see.
Well, it's coming out in February. They have no faith in it. They have no faith in it.
Although, I mean, we've seen a few studios taking gambles on sort of off-season movies where if we put out, maybe it's a film that we don't have confidence will perform well during the holidays or during the summer, but we put it out in February, we can make a targeted, like this is going to be the only film you're going to want to go see in February. So they can rule the box office for a couple weeks, maybe only pulling in, like $30 million paydays at the best. But then they have traction for a long time, though. So it's a longer tail before that movie evaporates, and there's less competition for it.
And also, if you note, a lot of movies have been pushed up to higher dates now. I mean, remember, Lego Movie came out in February, and that just tore it up.
And I think that's a perfect example of a film where maybe they were a little nervous. If Lego Movie has too much competition, its messaging is going to get lost in all the noise. But it was the only film worth seeing when it came out, and it what does it go up against? Monuments Men? Was that the film, the George Clooney movie?
Decimated.
And it, I mean, it wasn't even just like, oh, it beat it opening weekend. It was like it eviscerated.
Yeah,
Monuments Man.
George Clooney. There it goes. I just looked at the trailer. This thing reminds me of a video game. Like it just seems like a video game story that they.
It reminds me of like a mixture of a Gundam movie, video game with one other anime in there. Like if you mix Final Fantasy, Gundam, you get this.
Interesting, Mila Kunis.
Which is fine with me.
Mila Kunis and Channing Tatum. That's an interesting mix to put together. Two characters I wouldn't think be in the same movie like this, but we'll see how it goes. It's not something, it's just like it's a weird one.
I mean, it's a funny thing. A lot of people have said that. I mean, I guess for me, maybe who's watching it there? I guess maybe for me, my mind is a little warped. Like when I see worlds like that, I go, "Oh, great," because it's just different. It's not.
No, it's definitely different. I like the look of the world. Maybe she'll turn into Metroid.
We have a couple of comments here. What's going to rule February is 50 Shades of Grey. Oh, yes.
This movie fucked. This movie's done.
But no. There might be a chance. They're not using what's his face. They're not using the guy from.
They're using a new guy. They're using some unknown dude.
Yeah, they're not using the guy from Sons of Anarchy, who was also in Pacific Rim. So. What's his name again? I can't remember his name.
I know you're talking about him.
It doesn't matter. This foolish book and this foolish movie's coming out. It's done. It's done. You know it. I know it. We all know it.
Yeah.
We all know it. This movie will do great on demand.
They should do a slight move to March 1st. Just move it a little bit.
I'm hoping they get the DVD out by like April or something. I'm just saying. Do what WWE does, not DVD. The next week it comes out on release. Screw it, it's over.
I'm kind of in agreement with Warren. A lot of original IPs haven't come on screen lately, and I think it'd be nice to see something original. But man, it's going to be tough when you have the book that's as massive as 50 Shades of Grey that we're talking about on the 10 o'clock news. This is like a telenovela in a book form, like a raunchy telenovela in a book form. And now you're going to release a movie of it, and then you're going to release something that people aren't too familiar with. It's sci-fi. It's new.
No one's going to want to take the risk. They're going to. All men are going to be dragged into watching whatever guy do a whole bunch of S&M and dominatrix stuff.
Oh no, that's awful. Oh no, babe, I don't want to watch that. What sexy times for a whole film? Oh.
Oh my God! But
we'll have to sit there and witness all of it.
I guess if you're talking about new IPs for movies, Interstellar is pretty much the only one this year, right? No, only big one, really big one this year.
Didn't that movie with what's his name come out? What was the name with Tom Cruise?
Oh yeah, that's right. But it didn't do well.
Yeah,
that was a very good movie.
That was his original IP.
Edge of Tomorrow. It's actually
a really good movie.
It's not necessarily it's an adaptation. It's from a Japanese graphic novel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But was that Divergent thing original, or was that a book?
Book. It was basically Hunger Games.
Why?
You went into a panic attack.
You know what? Because
Divergent, but before you begin, first of all, when I saw the trailers for Divergent, the first thing that popped to me, this looks like a poor man's Hunger Games. And people were like, nah, it's not, it's different.
Okay,
let's see what these reviews.
Out there here, right? There are two movies that you should absolutely not watch. Sam knows the other. How to Train Your Dragon 2.
Oh, God, no.
That was that bad?
Yeah.
It's just usually not that bad.
Yeah, and the other one is Divergent. I mean, Hunger Games is 100 times better, and I don't like Hunger Games. Divergent is terrible. It really is.
What's that movie that it's like spanning off of that same genre? The one with JoJo in it. The guy that played JoJo in Jojen in Game of Thrones. He's a supporting actor in it. The one with the maze.
Oh, Maze Runner.
Maze Runner.
Maze Runner. I heard it was decent, except the ending was kind of weird or off. I haven't seen it. I was going to go see it, but I decided to stay at home. I figured I'd save myself the pain of watching teenage drama.
But literally, think about what all these movies are. It's teenage dystopia. That's what it is. Teenage dystopia, and I'm like.
In other words, Akira. Okay.
Oh no! Please don't mention it. They're gonna try and make Akira, and they will mess it up. Akira is one of those. It's like pure soul. You don't want to touch that because.
Wasn't there rumors they were gonna try and remake that with Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yeah, he was on that. He was on that for years. He wanted to make that, and
I don't think they have the technology. I think they have the technology now to try and make that work.
Yeah, he was tied to that for years, but eventually just fell up.
What will happen when they don't have anything else left to do? It will happen.
They will make an Akira movie. Hopefully it would be halfway decent, not like Dragon Ball Z.
Airbender.
Oh God! Airbender, and I told.
My favorite is when all the Earthbenders are doing all of this complex choreography to float one small rock.
Did you see? Oh my God! Speaking of that, did you see the review that the Nostalgia Critic did on that?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God! It describes that movie.
I mean, like it's like scene by scene because it tragically awful.
But speaking of Avatar in that series, they're releasing book 4, the last season, Legend of Korra, next week.
Oh, right on.
They're just gonna jump at the digital release starting on October 3rd.
Nice.
They're not gonna wait. Because since they decided to take it off TV and rip it off like a Band-Aid, didn't tell anyone it was gonna happen. Thanks a lot, Nick. The fans were very kind of angry about that because there's certain restrictions in certain countries to try and watch. So they're just gonna start that. They don't know how the episodes are gonna be shown, but I think it's 13 total in that season.
Okay.
So it's gonna wrap up it's gonna be the last Avatar for a while. I think it'll continue in the comics for a little while, but it's been the last Avatar mainstream cartoon for a while. They're gonna be doing something else after this. So Nickelodeon might just try to pull a Microsoft and make some other studio do it.
We have a couple of questions here. Lou Rod 76 says Maze Runner is getting a second one. I heard it was greenlit for a second one with Littlefinger from Game of Thrones as the bad guy.
More Game of Thrones people. Interesting.
Yeah, more Game of Thrones actors are really just spreading their wings out.
Yeah,
contracts must be really awesome.
Because Drogo is gonna be Aquaman, and
we all know
Daenerys got a movie too. She got something.
Yeah.
She's in is she in a Terminator movie? Yes, she is.
Yeah, she's in the new Terminator movie.
Reboot, which is funny that the Queen Cersei was in the Terra Chronicle was in the Terminator Sarah Connor Chronicles TV show. She was in that actually.
Yeah. And then Lynn Marie says yes for the love movies. Don't throw up, guys. Oh yeah, yes for the love movies. Sorry, as in chick flicks.
As in romances.
Yeah. Sorry.
As in yearly obligations.
Is that what you call it? Yearly obligations.
Oh God.
The other thing. Maybe it's just me. I'm excited. I want to see that Dracula movie.
That seemed interesting.
I'm curious.
I was very curious.
I am curious. It's another one of those. I went media blackout after the trailer because it's like, you know what? If this movie's terrible, it'll tell me too much in the trailers, and I just don't want to know, and I kind of want to give it a fair shot.
And I like the tagline, I like the tagline. Bloodline starts somewhere. I like. Oh, okay, good. Okay, I want to see this because if they're going the way I think they're going, whereas they're gonna go with the whole level of vampires, like vampires and whatever, and they're gonna have Dracula be like the patria familia of the whole Draconis line. I'll be like, yes, let's go that way. I want to see this story.
See, now you started mentioning that, I was thinking of Vampire Hunter D, man. That is one. That is one anime that I want to. They've only made 2, right?
Yeah.
I want to see another Vampire Hunter D.
I would be
surprising?
on board.
If you want to talk about anime you want to see again, there's such a lot of them.
know what's surprising is the fact that all these vampire movies have come out and no one has thought of trying to take the Castlevania series and try to make it into a film.
No, no. It would
That
not
could-
translate well as a film. Think about what happened with the dude. You know, think about what happened
they
with
can
him.
focus on certain Belmont stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You really,
I mean, it's
all
all
you gotta
Belmont
really,
stuff.
all you gotta really is focus on Simon. The other ones, and Simon and Trevor are like the two you focus on. Everyone else really doesn't matter.
Well, I would just hope in the movie that every 3 or 4 minutes it changes from night to day in a really long extended animation sequence.
and as he's walking around, they have their thing. As he's whipping candles and hearts fall out.
Hey, look, guys! I found a turkey in this brick wall. I should eat it.
Yeah.
But if you think about that, that would be a
kind of
very,
adaptation, okay? Not literal.
but if you think about that, that would be a pretty good kids film that if you wanted to bring vampires into because you have the
No, the story is, dude.
whoa.
they don't have to pay attention. They don't have to pay attention to the story.
No, but it's
What does that matter to Hollywood? Oh,
yeah,
it's
the story, he starts out as a good guy who becomes a bad guy. You know, it's like, I don't know how to play it well.
But the thing is, I'm already thinking of, all right, what can they merchandise for toys? The whip. So.
Yeah.
And
You
that
can make it a
brings us back
crossover
to
with 50 Shades of Grey.
I know, I was about to say
Great,
that.
cross purpose.
No, but you know, in terms of animated movies, though, I think Vampire Hunter D, you could make a good movie out of that, like a live action movie.
You have to explain what a dampeel is, but yeah, sure.
The damn pill is just a half breed. This is all it is.
It's a daywalker. Vis-a-vis.
Yeah,
what's his
exactly.
face,
Blade. Yeah.
Blade, yeah.
You know, you make it that way, and that would help purge out the lackluster Underworld series and also the sparkling vampires.
Potential, man. Potential.
When is this Big Hero 6 movie supposed to be coming out?
Oh, yeah. I'm really looking forward to it.
November? Oh, that's gonna. This looks like this is gonna do pretty well.
Oh yeah.
I love watching the trailer now. I like this is gonna do pretty good. And aren't they making another? What's the name? Incredibles movie?
Yes.
Isn't that finally-
Yeah, there was word on that.
No word exactly when. Most likely 2016, 2017, or 2018. Not sure when. So, like I said, I have no idea. All right. One last question here from Wayne Glasgow. He says, no denim camera feature for the 1020 because of the older hardware. Couldn't they have modified the camera grip with updated hardware and ST supports so the camera will switch to it when it's connected? Any thoughts on that, Mr. Juan Bagnell?
Well, I mean, I think it's a lot easier said than done. I don't know that Windows Phone has ever shown any great propensity for data being traveled through the USB port. Like, it doesn't have OTG support. I don't believe it has any kind of MHL support. So I don't know that they could build a rig that could allow for a 41 megapixel image sensor data transfer through that USB port for things like faster or like slow motion photography or 4K video.
You heard it, Samsung. Make a new Lumia 1030. Just do it.
Samsung.
Nokia.
Yeah, that's right.
Or excuse me, Microsoft. No, I really do. I really hope we see. I really hope we see updates to the 1520 and the 1020. I would love to see, the a 1530 and a 1030. Right now, it seems like because they've had the most traction in entry-level and mid-range phones, that's probably where we're going to see more development happen, though. So I hope they don't lose out on the flagships because the 930 was a step in the right direction. I'd love to see a 935, just like we did with the 920 and the 925. But I'm a camera snob, so I want it, an uncompromising.
I want it all, damn it.
Exactly. I mean, a 1030 4K recording with that 41 megapixel shooter on there.
And you don't even need to change the image sensor. You just need to give me, the faster phone processor, Qualcomm 800 series chip, a 1080p screen, and I'm gonna be a really happy camper. Yeah.
I would be. You're right. That would be.
You take the 930 and you bolt on the 1020 camera, and that is exactly what a lot of us are. I mean, a lot of us sort of like high-end, photog snobs are going to be really happy with.
We'll be like, ah! And Exo ZXV Gamer says Windows Phone is shit. Ah! I like my camera anyway.
Windows Phone is pretty good.
Lou Rod says thoughts on Underworld reboots. I heard about this, but
Oh, good. That might be good because I was just saying it's such a wasted potential there. Such a wasted potential.
Well, because they had this very bad structure where vampires were so feared, but the Lycans were so much stronger than the vampires anyway, and like there's no balance with these monsters.
Isn't that Mila, whatever her name was doing that?
No. Mila is Resident Evil. She's strictly Resident Evil.
I don't know, the chick looks the same. I mean, she does.
No, it's Eva. What's her name again? No, Evangelidi. No, sorry, somebody else. I can't remember. It starts with an E. Yeah, I think that's it. If they do it well, I heard Universal is doing a monster shared universe. So you're gonna have Dracula, the Mummy, Frankenstein, and there's one more, The Thing. I think all in one shared big universe.
Okay.
They're
You
trying
mean
to
like Van Helsing?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh my gosh, it's the best movie ever. Because there was that one scene where Frankenstein's like swinging from a cable with one arm. He was like, "Whoa, I'm Frankenstein." And I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna fight Dracula." It was awesome. Van Helsing was awesome.
And the fact that Van Helsing was Angel Gabriel, by the way, just to throw that in there.
Right? Oh my god, it was so cool. And he had like a crossbow, but it was like a fully automatic crossbow. I was like, wow, that's awesome.
Now let's contrast that with the what's it called? I, Frankenstein movie.
Oh God!
I didn't see that. Was that as ridiculously bad as it looked? Because it could have been so bad it was good.
I'm gonna put it this way. There are a few cheesy movies. I'm the guy that sit down on Saturday and watch cheesy karate flicks. I am no stranger to cheesy, corny movies.
Right.
I could not watch this movie to the end. That's how bad it was. I'm like, I was sitting down there like, okay, I'm just gonna see it through. I think there's like 10 more minutes for it to be over on my DVR. I'm like, no, I can't do it. I just can't do it. Wow, it was bad. It was just bad. It was rushed. The concept is good, but it was totally rushed.
Okay, and Lou Rod asks thoughts on Star Trek 3 having Captain Kirk and Spock in the same scene.
I guess. I don't know.
It looks like they're trying to grasp for straws and really push, because the second movie didn't do as much as they wanted to.
I thought the second movie had done better.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
I don't think it was as much though, because it came out in that hot period of Iron Man 3 and all these different movies. So
right, but I mean, like if it's that they just didn't meet expectations, well, that's a dumb.
But acclaim about.
But I thought it had. I mean, someone correct me if I'm wrong. I'm gonna pull up Box Office Mojo right now. But I thought Into Darkness had done more than.
I think I heard that too. It did better than the first one.
Yeah, but how much, and also in terms of no. Okay, let's put it this way.
No, it didn't. Lifetime gross on Star Trek is 257. Lifetime gross on Into Darkness was 228.
228, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't do as well as the first.
Had a
one.
lower opening weekend too. 75 compared to 70 million. Yeah, so 190 million budget, 150 smaller budget. So yeah, that's why they want to kind of spice things up a little bit.
Well,
but when they say Spock and Kirk, I'm like, Spock and Kirk are on the bridge almost every single scene.
No.
I think he means like William Shatner and Leonard.
William Shatner.
Oh. Okay.
I don't know. I don't know, because I like the J.J. Abrams Star Trek films as generic space adventure films. I don't think they're very good Star Trek films.
Yeah, because they're more Star Wars movies.
Well, I mean, you look at the first J.J. Abrams Star Trek, and it really is his demo reel for why he should get to produce a Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly.
And in fact, I mean, like, that's what I said leaving the theaters. Like, man, this is the best Star Wars movie I never asked for. Because it was. I mean, everything about Star Trek, the J.J. Abrams Star Trek, is exactly what I didn't like about the Star Wars prequels. They were vibrant, flashy, exciting, lots of action, running down hallways, some faithy logic leaps that don't make any sense, and pretty stuff gets to blow up and explode, and people running down corridors, and it was vibrant and exciting and fun and silly and goofy, but it wasn't.
Kirk has a fascination with alien species. I don't know why.
Well, but I mean, but it wasn't
Green
on
buns.
message for Star Trek, and I mean, like, people will fight me on this, but I think Star Trek should come with a certain kind of idealism, a little bit of soapboxing, and this notion that as long as people work together, they can solve any problem, and you lose out on that with the J.J. Abrams films. But he's really good at just putting in all those little bullet points. I mentioned the Kobayashi Maru. Star Trek fans will recognize that.
True. Yeah.
I killed a red shirt. Awesome.
Exactly, so there are a bunch of shout-outs and callbacks, but that doesn't necessarily mean you've made a good movie. So I'm torn. I don't know what a Star Trek 3 in this universe looks like, and if they're nervous, like if they're worried about it not making as much money, then I feel that they'll probably take more gambles with the IP than they probably should, as opposed to going back to basics and giving us a Star Trek film. So I don't know what that looks like.
Well, I was hoping that they would take more leaps, because what's been done over the last few years with Star Trek has been kind of the same old. It's like the TV show. It's like an episode of a TV show just blown out.
Well, and it comes with a lot of baggage. Like, if you were to try and do a legit Star Trek property in the era of Voyager and Enterprise and Next Gen and DS9.
The continuity is just so comfortable.
Your fans have to be aware of 3 decades of television.
Exactly. So it's like I was hoping they would do something totally different. Remember when in Generations there was this whole flipping. Basically, it was an alternate universe where Starfleet was more like the Dominion. They were a little bit more warlike. I was like, dang, this is a perfect reason for Starfleet to just militarize the hell up and just go out and dominate, go out and just say, you know what, we're going out there and we're just going to police the universe. I was hoping that they would do that, especially with the whole, with the second one where they bring Khan back and they show that they already had this kind of, this kind of forethought into building the super soldier. So I'm like, okay, maybe they want to go darker with this. Maybe that's where they're going. If they're going to bring back the lighthearted, kind of, cool captain everyone loves, kind of James T. Kirk, not going to work. They really need to keep going with the whole idea that, hey, guess what? Spock, he put out. He went there and he kicked Khan's ass, and that's the way it was. And
you know what they need, though? I think they need a Star Trek TV show back.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't there still some positive movement on Captain Worf? I thought we were still hearing it's still quiet and they're not.
I think there's still
but I thought there was still some positive word on that.
Yeah, there was, but I think the last movie kind of dampened it a little bit.
Yeah, that's fair too.
So not exactly sure, but I think one of the things that they need is that campiness on the TV show to give you different type of expositions for Star Trek, and then on the movies you might want to make it a little bit more serious, take that darker path and just make those 2 separate worlds, because you can't do 2 separate worlds for Star Trek. Just make it, the TV show may continue that line that we've known from Generations and Voyager. TV show movies are its own thing completely. Don't have to carry the cast over. Lou Rod 76 says X-Men Age of Apocalypse will end the First Class series, and maybe we'll get Cable and Psylocke.
You mean Psylocke?
Yeah. Maybe. I'm not the biggest fan of the X-Men series. Yes, Days of Future Past was a very good movie, but it was not an X-Men movie. Still not an X-Men movie as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it was. No, I totally disagree with you.
I like what he did in trying to fix a lot of things. So there's so many issues with the way he does stuff in X-Men universe that just irks me. I'm going now. I just watch it because it's the Wolverine story. It always will be the Wolverine story, right. And that's what I take it as. Not an X-Men movie. It's how much Wolverine can you put in before it's too much and becomes a sucky Wolverine movie. That's it.
Right.
Well, I think Days of Future Past to me, like, you really, what can you do with an IP that is, just so matured in basically.
No. So, okay, I'll tell you what you can do, right?
No, with its user base and also in its ideology. it's already been done. Everything that you can think of the X-Men, they've had First Class. The comics has so much history behind it that you really can't, do too much on screen. There's a lot to put in there.
You missed the point there is that they had a chance to revamp it. X-Men First Class was the perfect opportunity to reset the franchise. They did a partial reset. They changed character expositions, and they did all this weird time thing where you're like, I don't know where everyone lays. So if you watch all the X-Men movies until Days of Future Past, you kind of go, okay, I get it now. They just wiped out everything, and we're starting afresh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But with First Class, to me, First Class was the time where they could have gone, okay, if you really want to do First Class, you take the original First Class X-Men, you drop it, and that's the beginning. Call it quits. You can always throw Wolverine there because he's so old. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
With Wolverine. But if you take the original 5, Iceman, Cyclops, Jean, Beast, plus Wolverine, done.
But I also think what you're talking about is the fear of the studios outside of Disney Marvel looking at what's been popular and what's actually gotten them cash, and Wolverine is a cash cow.
Yep.
So First Class showed us you can do a movie without Wolverine, but you don't want to stray too far from what is a known success. And I think Days of Future Past showed that blending those worlds and introducing Wolverine back into the mix, like you were saying, you can. But they also needed to rectify some of the issues caused by X-Men 3. And that's really what the goal of this was, so that you could set up a property like Age of Apocalypse.
Yeah, true. Oh, yeah, your thoughts on Deadpool. I don't think you were around for that.
Oh, yeah. No, I mentioned it briefly because I was at the Microsoft store.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I want this movie to be rated R so bad. I want it. I want a hard R Deadpool.
Just NC-17.
I want it.
Yeah.
Well, he's an NC-17 character, but you can't make an NC-17 movie, so don't tell us what you did to Spawn. I don't want a PG-13.
Yeah.
I really
don't.
don't.
Okay. Oh man. I'll just leave it alone. That whole Spawn stuff really got me. So I'm just gonna.
You feel
have you seen the creator of Spawn? Have you actually seen him?
No.
Do
you have an image? Can you share an image?
He's getting really passionate about this, folks. It's making me a little uncomfortable.
Google him and then tell me, does he look like a guy who would write a PG-13 movie?
Creator of Spawn. Okay.
You mean McFarlane?
Todd McFarlane. No, okay, yeah. When you say creator of Spawn, I was like, no. No, he's not. He's not a guy who writes PG-13 stuff.
And then why?
Well,
have you seen the comics of Spawn, where it's basically there's almost a sex scene in every single comic?
Mm-hmm.
PG-13? Like seriously?
But that's now the word is rumors hit that the movie's going to be PG-13. Immediately, the writer of Deadpool came out and said, no, we haven't decided on anything yet. Please.
Well, and like this is really fresh news just coming off of, we had some test footage that was leaked, and then they put out the test footage legit so we could see it in higher quality, and that got positive buzz. So I mean, this is as close to crowdsourcing the popularity of a film as we could get.
Yeah.
It's not. It's like one step removed from them just turning to Kickstarter like Veronica Mars and saying, "Hey, we want to make Deadpool." They really did do a phenomenal job of getting a community of people sort of lit up about secret footage of a Deadpool movie. Oh my gosh, I totally want to see that.
Yeah.
So that was a great way to judge whether or not they could actually make the film.
I hope they make they make that Tom Cruise joke. I really do hope they do the Tom Cruise joke. Yeah, I hope they do, because there was a time when he basically got his face redone, and it was like, he looks like Tom Cruise. I hope they do that. That would be so awesome.
Lou Rod says his favorite director is coming back to direct Age of
No, he says your favorite director is coming back.
Yeah.
To direct
No,
Age of Apocalypse.
Thanks, Lou Rod.
He's your bestie. He's your fave.
Sorry, I read that wrong. No,
before Thunder E had a headphone wall, he had just posters of Bryan Singer plastered all over his walls. It was really cute.
What are you trying to
like Teen Beat, and yeah, it was good times. He was amazing.
No, hell no. Bryan Singer destroyed Superman.
Like, oh my gosh, I wish I could have lunch with Bryan Singer and ask him what his favorite pony is.
Bryan Singer almost single-handedly destroyed Superman with one of the dumbest movies ever. And I sat down with a couple of I never forget it. I remember I took this trip to HP headquarters. I was talking to a couple of tech journalists, and he might be watching this show, and he said that Superman Returns is his favorite movie. I'm sorry. Anyone who likes that movie has issues because that portrays the worst message of any hero or forget hero, human being. Get pregnant, somehow wipe her mind, run away for 7 years, don't pay child support, come back, and then try and spy on her and her girlfriend, then cry while doing it with your X-ray vision. That's about 8 or 9 things. That's
and he's
Superman
so
Returns.
lonely.
Yeah.
He's so lonely.
So lonely. Yes, very lonely.
So yeah, thank you, Lurod, for telling me about that. I really appreciate bringing back those memories. Really soaks in. And he says they should do a Death of Logan movie as the third one.
I guess maybe they won't. Wolverine's too popular, but it could be an interesting storytelling.
Yeah, it goes back to how we said they should kill Spider-Man. Peter Parker needs to die.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm absolutely on board bringing in
Miles Morales, man. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and Childish Gambino. Yes. we will keep saying it until you actually do something, Tony. Take a risk.
Maybe I'm gonna go on my Spider-Man spiel again, but there's a reason why Spider-Man to me is one of the best superheroes out there. It's not because he's the strongest, although he's one of the strongest. It's not because he's one of the smartest. It's not because he's one of the youngest, but it's simply because he tells a story about basically the costs of doing what you do. He's had girlfriends die, he's had his uncle die. He's basically, at the end of the day, he pays the ultimate price. Captain America pays the ultimate price by an assassin's bullet. Oh, big deal. Like, Xavier gets killed by Onslaught. Oh, yeah, great. Good father-son BS. Big deal. Spider-Man fights with his last breath, and he doesn't even kill the bad guy. Aunt May pulls out a gun and takes him out. I'm like, that's the kind of story that I like. That is the exact same. Like because the way they did it in Ultimate is like he's a kid. A kid cannot beat 7 villains. There's no way in this world it would happen. Something's got to give, and Spider-Man was the one who gave. At the end, he wasn't super enough. And that's the truth. We're not heroes. Even the heroes need help sometimes.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
Where were the Avengers again? Just saying, in New York City. I just wondering.
Dude, I was reading this comic and I knew what was going to happen at the end, and I'm shaking my head, and at the same time, I was like, I don't want to turn the page, but like, I just want to see how they write it.
And you turned the page, and did you cry?
No, I didn't cry, but I had a lot more respect for Spider-Man at the end of the day. The Ultimate Comics kind of started out as a way to basically, change the story that were behind the Avengers. The Avengers became the Ultimates. Change the stories behind the X-Men because it became Ultimate X-Men. Everything kind of changed a little bit. And then even Spider-Man kind of sort of changed a little bit. But at the end of the day, it's like they took the opportunity with Spider-Man to write something that, that was relevant. To write something that wasn't Spider-Man goes and he fights and he gets beaten up and he makes a joke and that's it. No, they wrote something where Spider-Man did A, B, C, D. Basically, Venom is a clone of Spider-Man. They kept on going, and at the end of the day, they're like, yeah, and guess what? This 16-year-old kid that has no business going out there and fighting supervillains, yeah, he kind of dies because he has no business fighting supervillains. It's one of those things. I'm like, I kind of really got the story. I really loved that story. It was really well written and really well drawn as well.
Well, here's the sad news, though. It's not going to be made.
I know.
Yeah, they won't.
Nah, won't happen. Before we wrap up, we have one more question here from Photo Fanatic for you from Instagram. He says, what do you guys like better spec-wise, the Galaxy Note 4 or the iPhone 6 Plus? I've got a Note 3 and I've got an iPad 2, and I don't know what to pick between the 6 Plus or the Note 4. So please tell him what you would pick between one of those two.
Yeah, I'd go Note 4.
Note 4. And how about you, Warren?
Note 4.
Note 4. All right. Yep. Same here. Note 4. I think that's the wise choice. It won't bend and break.
No, I mean, like, I really think the biggie for me is going to be camera. I keep coming back to cameras, and the Note 4 camera is going to get, in a way that I can't play with Sony cameras. The Note 4 camera is going to be one of the best Android competitors to what Nokia has been doing on the 930 and 1520.
Mm-hmm.
I see your cameras and I read your functionality. I think the Note is definitely going to be more functional than iPhone. at the end of the day.
I mean, it is.
Well,
and
there's a reason for the Note to be big. That's another thing too. Whether or not you even use the stylus, they are positioning it as being a productivity tool. So.
And one last rumor from Lou Rod. Thank you for throwing out all the rumors there, Lou. Rumors that they're saying the Avengers 3 might be split into 2 movies. Please do not do that.
Keep those things.
Any thoughts, people, on Avengers 3 Part A and Part B, The Death of Iron Man?
Huh?
That's what I'm calling it. Actually, it's going to be Avengers Civil War. Without most of the Civil War people.
That was actually.
Yeah, but it would be very hard to do a good Civil War without Spider-Man in it.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true.
So.
I don't know. I don't think that should be done at all. Why would anyone do that? Oh, to make more money. All right. So.
All right. On that note, we are rounding up. We had a giveaway last week. And it looks like, only one person answered, and it is Juan Irvin. This is his second win. Juan's been paying attention, just like our Juan here. So he basically said, the question is about what he thought about the iPhone 6 launch and all the fiasco after. He said, honestly, I think the iPhone 6 launch was successful, but the iPhone 6 isn't the greatest. I saw a drop test, and it failed. The only other drop test I saw was one that was the accident where the kid dropped it on live TV. So so Juan, you get to win one of these cases right here, either the Spigen Wallet S case for the LG G3 or the Ultra Hybrid case for the Galaxy S5. So send me a private message and you get to pick one, and you win. This week, or what should we have for a question this week, guys? Thoughts. Should we make it entertainment based?
Or, I mean, if we want to make it snarky, we could say, what is your favorite Bendgate joke? And they have to include a link to their favorite Bendgate joke.
I thought you just said Bendgate, but yeah, okay, Bendgate.
Or excuse me, Benghazi, if you want to use that.
Oh, Benghazi, yes.
Benghazi. All right, cool. What's your favorite Bendgate joke? And this time you get to win a mystery prize. So, Mr. Warren Bowman, can you tell us what this mystery prize might be?
You need to unmute him.
Oh, okay, that's right.
It's a mystery to everyone.
It's a what?
It's a mystery.
Okay, so you might get to win something that is mysterious.
It could be amazing. It could be a box of crap.
It could be anything.
But remember, our box of crap is your box of awesome.
I don't know that I really want that on a t-shirt, but okay.
All right, so that's pretty much it. One more thing I forgot to talk about. Microsoft will announce the new Windows on Tuesday. It could be Windows X, Windows 9, Windows something, or it could be called the new Microsoft OS. No idea. But we will all give you info once we get word of it on Tuesday. So stay tuned to all the channels, Booredatwork, Some Gadget Guy, as well as BW1 for info and information on the next version of Windows. So guys,
it's going to be called Windows. I don't know if you like the start bar, so we'll put it in here, but we'll also put Metro in your start bar because we don't know if you don't like Metro because we want you to use Metro because Metro is the feature of Windows. Exactly.
Wow, you just became 6 from Blossom. That was amazing.
All right, guys. Just to round up here, what can we expect from your channels next week? Start off with Mr. Warren Bowman. What can we expect from you?
Why do you always start off with me every week?
Okay, fine. Start off with Juan Bagnell. What can we expect this week?
So, I'm wrapping
as
up.
Warren gathers his thoughts.
I'm wrapping up the 6 Plus coverage. I'm going to have a full review out. This actually needs to go back to an AT&T store, so I want to say major thanks for letting me steal one of the actual display units. In Pasadena, there's an empty spot on a 6 Plus display because I've had it for the week. And in addition to that, what I'm really going to be excited to be talking about over the next week are a series of mid-ranger and entry-level phones. So I've released a review on the Lumia 635. You can check that out. I'm wrapping up my time with the Kyocera Brigadier, and we want to talk about Sapphire screen and amazing phone call technology for a $400 phone off contract. This thing's been baller. I also just got my hands on the LG G3 Vigor, another sort of $350, $330 mid-ranger. And this one I'm actually really happy. It's backtracking because it's older. I mean, it's been out for a while. But we finally have an actual carrier-branded Lumia 1320. So for Fabulous fans, and we want to talk about something in the mid-range, a bit more affordable, but you want the larger screen, we're going to be doing some coverage on this, camera tests, speaker tests, the whole 9 yards. So definitely tune in over the next week for that. It's the 5-megapixel shooter.
No,
but it will shoot.
What carrier? Sorry.
Oh, what carrier? It's on Cricket.
Okay.
So Cricket picked up the 1320, and this is what I was excited about when I first saw the 1320 announced. There is a market for entry-level and mid-range phones here in the United States that we often get ignored to push these phones out worldwide. And so I'm really happy to see someone pick up the 1320 because I think it'll be a great option for that larger screen size, but you don't want to drop a lot of cash.
Okay, and it won't bend.
and it won't bend.
All right, how about you, Mr. Warren Bowman?
Now that I have some time to edit this week, I have the OnePlus One review coming up, and I have a couple of power batteries I want to send out to review as well too, plus a couple of things coming down the pipeline, some headphones and such.
Okay, cool. I will go ahead before Mr. Black Iron _ man. I want to first give a shout out to AT&T for letting me do some hands-on in the store. I want to not give a shout out to T-Mobile for basically delaying my iPhone for a while, though I just got email confirmation that my iPhone 6 Plus shipped. This is not mine. This is my buddy's iPhone 6 Plus that I'm using here. So T-Mobile, that was very useless. I'm sorry. That was bad. But this week I will have my 6 Plus review. I will have lots of cases to protect your 6 Plus, so stay tuned. Because that's very important. If you're buying a 6 Plus, you need protection from your butt. I know. I just
make it dirty.
I just did. But I'll have some 6 Plus stuff. And also we'll have I'm going to have a review of the vacuum I put up on Instagram. Samsung sent me a vacuum, so I need to do some cleaning around here. Make sure this place looks clean and respectable, and we'll tell you how well it sucks up dirt. So that is all the stuff I have this week. Now, how about you, Mr. Sam?
I have nothing. We have, I think we have the Y40 gaming video review. So
Yes.
Let's put that up. We also have the finished water-cooled Hydro from EVGA, and the Code 3D, I believe, or
no, it's Club 3D,
Club 3D
AMD R9 285.
The 285 card, yes. We did the unboxing for that, and I walked you through exactly what the difference is between the R9 280 and the 285. Now I've put it in the actual Hydro water-cooled case here, and once I get an OS in this system, I should be able to give you guys a better review of the card and the case in general. It's a pretty small build, so actually, let me do this. I'm going to pull this up here and show you guys how awesome the build is and how small it is as well.
Can you raise it up higher?
Yeah, I'm going to raise it up high, but I just want to make sure I can actually raise it without any issue. This is it. This is the whole case here. Oh, it's water cooled, and it has the graphics card in there. I don't know if you can see the opening for it here. So that's it. It was probably one of the tougher builds I've actually done because it's pretty small, and getting things to fit in there, you have to plan out the build. This is definitely a case where I definitely had to plan out the build, and we had issues last time. I think I mentioned that we had issues with the power supply. We had to swap that out, and that wasn't as easy as you think because I don't think it was meant to be swapped out. So someone had, I guess, when the initial one was really, the initial power supply, the initial PSU was screwed in there pretty tightly. So I had to basically chip off the end of the screw so I could pull that out. But all in all, it's so far I've had it running for 3 days straight, and nothing's been wrong with the PSU. So I'm pretty confident that we just had a bad PSU for the first build. But you guys will see more about the case and more about the card in the next week. So that's it.
All right, cool. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for watching, commenting, asking questions, and throwing out rumors, all that fun stuff. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much for that. Don't forget to check out all the channels. You can check out Mr. Juan Bagnell at Some Gadget Guy. Yes, he's Some Gadget Guy on Twitter. You can check him out as Juan Bagnell no, Some Gadget Guy on YouTube or Juan Bagnell on YouTube.
I mean, if you search for Some Gadget Guy, you'll find me too. The actual channel's under Juan Bagnell.
Okay, yeah. So you will find him there on YouTube and follow him on all his social channels. You know, he's very popular. This guy's going to blow up very soon. So
It
just
was
let
on
you know.
2 major networks on the same day.
Exactly. I mean,
I mean that one actually kind of seriously like
At the same damn time.
I was jumping back. I was literally jumping back and forth between NBC LA and Fox LA
Yeah,
Canada.
because I saw the NBC one, and all of a sudden I saw Fox, and I'm like, did someone just put a Fox logo? I'm like, no, it's a different one. Like, one's a star. One's a star.
It was pretty hot. Yeah.
yeah. So definitely check out all his channels and follow him on all social media outlets. And also Mr. Warren Bowman. Check out his channel with some nice long form videos, some gaming stuff, gaming hardware. Also, you know, he likes to have a few rant videos out there. What's your video series called? The new one you just started. Can't hear you. You're mute. I can't mute you. You muted yourself.
Okay, I think I might. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I think I called it "Deal with It."
Yes, deal with it.
Anytime I feel like going up a rant, I usually throw something up on there.
Yeah, so check out
Deal
his Deal With It series. It's pretty nice, interesting. Channel is BW1.com. Subscribe to him on YouTube, follow him on Twitter, Instagram, all the social networks. It's really cool stuff. And also, Mr. Black Iron _Man Sam, part of the Booredatwork network. You can follow him on Twitter. That is his Twitter handle. Is that your Instagram handle also, or no?
No, not on Instagram yet. So
Yeah.
the problem is
Can we get this guy on Instagram, please?
The problem is I don't Instagram. I don't understand the Instawebs.
Okay,
the
yes.
grams.
Yes. Let's just stuff that foolishness.
I'll get on this.
So yeah, follow him on that's his Twitter account. You can also check him out at Booredatwork.com on YouTube and subscribe to us. It's Booredatwork. All our social media feeds are all Booredatwork: Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. So this is Thunder E saying thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe to all the channels. Enter into the contest. You get to win that mystery prize. And
Oh yeah.
And what is the
mystery prize like mystery meat?
And what is the contest question again, Juan? Could you please remind me?
You have to link us your favorite Bendgate photo, or I mean your favorite Bendgate joke.
Joke or photo, doesn't matter. If you just drop the link there in the description, and you are entered to win the mystery prize. All right, guys. Thank you very much, and always enjoy your entertainment. Bam.